Hello, viewers. Greetings to you and welcome to my live broadcast. Welcome to my live stream. If you have any question, please drop your questions in the comment section, and also let me know where you're watching from. Let us rub our minds together. This is I offer training on solar and inverter installation, how to design a solar power system, the various components of a solar power system. That is the solar panels, the batteries, the charge controller, the inverter, and cables, breakers, and other protective devices, OCPDs. So if you have any question, any challenge you're having as regards solar installation, please drop your question so that I can attend to the question. Now, there are a few questions that most times people ask as regards solar installation and maintenance. I'm going to attend to those questions briefly, and there are a few of them here that I will attend to. So the first question is, what are the factors? What are the factors that affect the energy production of solar panels? There are different factors that affect the energy production of a solar panel. Behind me is a monocrystalline solar panel. Now, when you install these solar panels, either on your roof, on the ground, or on the pole, those are the different ways you can install solar panels. You can mount them on your roof, you can mount them on a pole or on the ground. That's what we call ground mounting. Now, after installing these solar panels, most times you have challenges. The solar panels will not be producing the energy that you need. So what are some of those factors that affect the energy production of solar panels? Number one is the intensity of sunlight. Now, after installing your solar panels, they are the generators. So if the solar panels are not properly facing the sun, they won't be able to generate enough energy. Then also, if you have cloudy days, like rainy days, and the intensity of sun is not much, your solar panels will not generate much. Please just drop your questions. When I'm through with the explanation, I will attend to all questions by the grace of God. And please, as you're typing the question, let me know where you're watching me from, the country you're watching me from. Thank you. Now, the intensity of sunshine, if the intensity of sunshine is not high, the solar panels will not be able to generate enough energy because they depend solely on the sun to generate the energy in DC form to, send to the battery bank through the charge controller. So low intensity of sunshine will affect the energy production of your solar panels during the day. Then another factor is angle of angle and orientation of the panel. That is how the solar panels are installed. Normally, you're supposed to install them, they're supposed to tilt. You're supposed to install them not, straight. Like in Nigeria, you install your solar panels facing the south at 15 degrees, 15 degrees facing south. So that is the orientation. If the solar panels are not well positioned, the orientation is poor, the angle of installation is also poor, the solar panels will tend to generate less amount of energy or lower amount of energy. Then another factor is temperature. Solar cells are affected by high temperature, increase in temperature. That is why it is advisable that when you are installing your solar panels on the roof, you should use solar mounting racks or rails so that there will be a space between the roof and the solar panels. When you install the solar panels directly on the roof, that is, you place them on the roof on top of the zinc and you use binding wire to hold the solar panels, you are reducing the efficiency of those panels because during the day when the intensity of sunshine is high, the roof is generating heat. There's no aeration. So the solar cells, the temperature will increase, and that can affect the overall production of the solar panel. So it is always advisable and highly recommended that when installing solar panels, you should use mounting rails so that there will be aeration between the solar panels and the roof. Another factor that affects the energy production of solar panels is shading. When you install your solar panels where there's shading, that is, you have trees, you have projected buildings, you have chimneys, and other things that cast shadows on the solar panel during the day when they are supposed to generate, mostly between 12 noon to 1 and 2 p.m. The solar panels tend to generate high amount of energy as at that time. So if there are buildings, projected buildings, chimneys, or trees, so if the solar panels are not able to generate during the day, there will be no energy that will be stored in your battery bank. Then another one is quality of the solar panel. Now, if the quality of a solar panel is poor, the cell efficiency of that solar panel will also be poor. In other words, the solar panel will not be able to convert enough of the sun's energy into electricity during the day. So poor quality solar panels will tend to generate less amount of energy, during the day. Then we also have dust cover during dry seasons where you have dust cover. Dust will cover the solar panels. Their energy production at that time will reduce. That is why it is also recommended that during those periods you should use a soft material to clean the solar panels, or you use water to wash the surface of the solar panels so that they will be able to generate enough amount of energy. And the last I have here is the age of the solar panel. As the solar panel is aging, the number of years is increasing, it is also degrading. So you know that solar panels will not last forever. So it will come to a time that their energy production will be dropping until they won't be able to generate enough energy again. Let me answer a few questions. Mr. Ahmed Ismaila, good afternoon, sir. All right, good afternoon to you too. Thanks for joining my live stream. Please, where are you watching from? Let me know where you're watching from. Mr. Alex, must you install MCB between the solar panel and controller? Between the solar, if a must, which should I install on a 300-watt solar panel? Yes, it is a must. Is a standard practice. When you are installing a solar power system, there is what we call protection. You must offer protection to your solar power system. Mostly if that solar installation is a big installation, you're having a lot of panels, batteries, and the rest, you need that system to be protected and also well earthed to protect it from lightning strikes, protect it from overcurrent. So you need MCBs. You need to install protection devices, OCPDs, between the solar panel and the charge controller, between the charge controller and the battery bank, between the battery bank and the batteries, between the batteries and the inverter. Now, from the inverter, the AC side of the inverter, you need to also put protection between your loads and the inverter output. Then, if you're also using power from the grid or generator to charge the batteries and also power your load, you need to also offer protection between grid power and your inverter, or generator and your inverter. So you need to completely protect your system. Installing a solar system is not a small project, so you need to install your protection. Now you're asking, what type of MCB should you use for a 300 watts panel? Now, if you're connecting a 300 watts panel, or you're installing a 300 watt panel and you're connecting it to a charge controller, in other words, the charge controller will be charging the battery, you need to look at the short circuit current of that panel, and also look at your connections. Are you connecting them in series or in parallel? If you look at the back of your solar panel, you will see the maximum fuse rating of that solar panel. Look at the back. Quality companies of quality solar panels, they always have that at the back of the solar panel, you see series fuse rating. In other words, if you're connecting those solar panels in series, the maximum fuse you should use for that series connection. If you're connecting them in parallel, each parallel line should also have a protection, a fuse. So you need to know the short circuit current of the solar panel. If you know the short circuit current, whether you're connecting in series or in parallel, remember in parallel you are increasing the current will double, but in series connection voltage will double, but current will remain the same. So if you know the current, you multiply it by 1.56, multiply the current, the short circuit current of the solar panel you're connecting by 1.56, you will have the maximum fuse rating that you need for that protection. How much is your course in American dollar? Is $25. It's a 2 months course. If you're interested, but it's an online course. I'm planning on doing a practical training either in Lagos or in Abuja if you're in Nigeria. Mr. Ahmed, how can I differentiate 300 watt solar panel? How can you differentiate? I don't understand. Differentiate the 300 watt panel from what? Please, you can rephrase your question, Mr. Ahmed Ismaila. How can I differentiate 300 watts panel? What are you differentiating it from? So let me know. Mr. Morris Thompson, you're watching from Indiana. Thanks for joining my live broadcast. I'm very grateful. Mr. Alex, must you okay, I've answered this question. It says, must you install MCB between solar panel? Okay. Yes, I've answered that question. You are watching from Kenya. Thanks very much. Mr. Damilare Oladejo. Good afternoon, sir. I'm watching from Oshogbo, Osun State. That is in Nigeria. Thanks very much. Mr. Olorufemi John. Good evening, sir, from Taraba State. That is Nigeria. Thanks for joining my live broadcast. Mr. Mukalia Ozigi, please, when do we need high voltage battery more than 48 volts? And the voltage of your battery bank, how you're going to connect them, whether in series or in parallel or series parallel connection, depends on the inverter you're using. What is the DC input voltage of the inverter you want to use? We have 12 volts inverters, we have 24 volts inverters, we have 36 volts, but they are very rare. We have 48 volts inverters, we have 96 volts inverter, I think we have 120 volts. So it depends on the DC input voltage. We call it nominal voltage, DC input voltage of the inverter. If it is 12 volts, it means you need a 12 volt battery bank. If it is 24 volts, it means you need a 24 volts battery bank. So if you have two 12 volts batteries, it means you're going to connect them in series to give you 24. If you have a 48 volts inverter, it means you're going to connect 4 12 volts batteries in series to give you 48 volts. If you have 96 volts, just divide that 96 by 12, you will have the number of batteries you're going to use. If you have 120 volts, divide it by 12, it will give you the number of batteries you're going to use for that installation. So connecting your battery bank, to know the voltage, whether you're using high voltage or low voltage, higher than 48 volts or lower than 48 volts, you look at the input DC input voltage of your inverter. You know that the inverter have two sides, the DC input and the AC output. The inverter receives the DC from the battery bank and convert that DC to AC, that is to alternating current. So the DC that the inverter is going to convert to AC, how many volts? What is the battery bank voltage of that DC voltage? So when you know the DC input of your inverter, that will guide you in connecting your battery bank. I don't know if I've answered your question. Mr. Okechukwu Victor, how to size cables? Just subscribe to my channel. Those of you who have not subscribed, I will drop a video on cable sizing and breakers, how to size breakers, fuses and the rest. I'll drop a video on that within this week by the grace of God. So just subscribe. It's going to be a detailed video. So I'm going to make use of the board and explain how you can size your cables. Then those of you who need my PDF on how to size the solar power system, the link is on the description of this video, and also you can check the description of my channel. You'll see the link. Then Mr. Paul, you're asking, Paul from Kenya, thanks for joining. What size of cables can you use between panels and solar charge controller, and also inverter? Thanks. Like I said earlier, I'm going to drop a video on cable sizing. But if you are sizing cables from panels to charge controller, what you are looking at is the short circuit current of your solar panels. So that is why it is very, very important for you to understand the parameters that are written at the back of your solar panel. The maximum power of that solar panel, maximum power voltage, maximum power current, open circuit voltage, short circuit, current, maximum series fuse rating. You need to understand those parameters because they are going to guide you in sizing different components in the solar power system. So for you to size cable or to know the size of cable you're going to use, either in mm or AWG, that is American wire gauge, you need to look at the short circuit current that will be coming out from your solar array or solar panel. So within this week, like I said earlier, by His grace, I'm going to drop a video on that. Mr. John, how do I control lightning from damaging an inverter? You need to install a thunder arrestor. You need to install a thunder arrestor, and you need to earth the entire system. That will protect it from, and also install SPDs, such protective devices. Those things will help in securing your system. Mr. Okechukwu, thanks. All right, I'm grateful. History makers, hi, I'm Aaron from Uganda. Thanks for joining my live stream. If a panel is broken, can it still perform, and what are the effects after? If a panel is broken, depending on the quality of the solar panel, most of them will still generate. If you use a multimeter and test, they will generate, but the lifespan will be reduced over time because effects of rain and sun, that penetration will be affecting the solar panel. So that is why it is always advisable that when shipping or installing your solar panels, you should be very careful not to break the glass, the coverage of the solar cells, because that is where degrading will start from. There will be degrading over time. Although they may serve you for some time, but definitely they will degrade because of the effects of rain and sun. Now I move to the next question that I have here. The second question: why is my inverter shutting down? Most times after installation, you discover that the inverter will be shutting down. When you turn on the inverter, you put on your load, before you know it, the inverter will be shutting down. There are different reasons, or so many reasons, why an inverter, your inverter is shutting down. Number one is overloading. When you overload an inverter, the inverter will definitely shut down because you are forcing that inverter to work beyond its rated capacity. All inverters have their maximum rated capacity. So you are not expected to exceed, to apply loads that are higher or greater than the rated capacity of that inverter. So when the loads you connect on that inverter are higher or above its rated capacity, the inverter will always be shutting down because it's telling you that I cannot power these loads. These loads are, more powerful than me. They are higher than me, so I can't carry them. So what the inverter will quietly do is to shut down, because it is also protecting itself. Because if you continue, it can destroy the internal circuits of that inverter. So overloading an inverter can make an inverter to shut down. Number two is undersized cables. You know that the inverter is connected between your battery bank and your loads to convert the DC to AC. So when the cables you're using between the battery bank and the inverter, if the cables are undersized, when you put on the inverter and you connect loads to that inverter, the cables will be overheating, and that overheating will make the inverter to shut down. So the inverter will always be shutting down because of undersized cables. Another one is when you have short circuit on the AC side of the load, maybe your house wiring or the loads you are using, there's a short circuit. The inverter, when it detect that, because it will become a load to the inverter, the inverter will also shut down. Another one is low battery bank voltage. Inverters have what is called LVD, low voltage what's it called, LVD. They have what is called low voltage something, I've forgotten. So if the inverter, you know, is sensing low voltage from your battery bank, the inverter will always be shutting down. They will always shut down because the voltage, the LVD, is lower than its limit. That is the lowest voltage that inverter can operate. Whether it is a 12-volt inverter, for a 12-volt inverter, you see them having an LVD of 11 point something volts or 11.5 volts. So once that voltage, the battery bank voltage, is below 11.5 volts, the inverter will definitely shut down. So low battery bank voltage can cause the inverter to shut down. Then another one is high temperature. That is why all inverters, modern day inverters, they have internal fans or internal cooling system. The fans there, the essence of the fan is to, you know, provide cooling, a cooling system. When the inverter is becoming hot because of the loads that you have connected to the inverter, the inverter will sense high temperature, and because of that high temperature, it will shut down if the fans are not working. That is why you always need to check the fans that are installed in your inverter. At times the fan may fail, or at times they are being blocked by dust or other dirt. So you need to clean the fan and make sure the fan is working very well. If the fan is not working, the inverter will always be sensing high temperature and it will be, you know, shutting down. The next question is, how many solar panels do I need for my appliances? How many solar panels do I need for my appliances? To know the number of solar panels you need for your appliances, you need to know their total daily energy consumption. That is what will guide you in choosing the number of, sizing the number of solar panels that will, you know, power those loads, that will supply the energy that is needed by those loads to run. So the first step is for you to know the total daily energy consumption of those loads. That will guide you in choosing the number of solar panels you need. You can check my videos. You will see I have videos on how to choose the number of solar panels you need, you know, to power your load. So you need to take into consideration the peak sun hours. That's the number of sunshine that you have in your location, and, you know, the power rating of the solar panels you want to use, the performance ratio of the solar panels, and other factors you need to take into consideration. So check my videos. You'll see, you know, there how to, you know, size or choose the number of solar panels you need. Mr. Morris Thompson, what brand of equipment do you use for solar panels, inverters, batteries, charge controller, ECT? Also, do you mix and match brands when doing installations? You know, the brands you're using mostly depends where you're located. The availability of those brands in the market. Like here in Nigeria, we have Felicity, we have Victron, we have Luminox, we have Most, we have Growwatt, we have SMA. So it depends on, you know, the brands that are available in your country, in your market, and also you know, the budget of your clients, because most of them are expensive. Some brands are very expensive. So you need to discuss with your clients and let him know the advantage of this one over the other one, and also know if the clients will be able to pool that money to buy that what's it called, that component. For solar panels, most times I use Jinko. I use Trinidad solar panels. For other brands, Felicity is there, like their inverters, they are there, there are lithium batteries. There are different brands that you can make use of, but it all depends on your budget. But in all, any brand you want to choose, you should be sure of the quality of that brand. So look at your contract. Please, you're watching from US. There are different brands in US, and brands that have good quality control, that when you install them, they will not be giving you issues. SMA, Victron, Jinko, Trina, Canadian, Solar, they are different. Thanks. Even Longi solar panels. So depending if they are in your market or in your country. Mr. Alex, I have installed a 300-watt panel and a 200 amps hour battery. Can I add or upgrade by adding a 300-watt panel to make it a 600-watt panel? Will my 200 amps hour battery be enough? Now, I believe since it is one battery, is a 12-volt system, and you are using a 300 watts panel, I don't know the size of charge, the type of charge controller you're using, whether it is PWM or MPPT. If you're using a PWM charge controller and you're using a 300 watts panel, you should know that the voltage of that panel is high. That PWM charge controller may not be able to convert that excess voltage, to power, enough power or current to charge your batteries. So if you are using high capacity solar panels, it is good you use MPPT charge controllers. Why? Because PWM charge controllers, their battery bank, the battery bank voltage should always correspond with the solar panel voltage. If it exceeds that excess voltage, the PWM will not be able to step it down or convert it to, into power, enough power to charge the battery. Now, it is not as if PWM charge controllers are bad. PWM charge controllers are good only if you know where to apply them, to make use of them. Most times we make use of PWM charge controller in a wrong application. You are having a very high voltage and you're using PWM charge controller. It do not function very well there. So if you use it where the battery bank voltage is corresponding with the voltage that is coming from the solar panels, the PWM charge controller can work. Now, in the area of upgrading, you can always upgrade your system depending on the loads you're using. For, I don't know, the battery, whether it is lithium or a sealed battery or flooded battery. But if you step it up to 600 watts, it's still okay. But take a good look at your charge controller so that the charging efficiency will be high. So you can upgrade, you can add. Now, okay, Mr. Morris Thompson, you were asking if you can mix brands. Ideally, in solar installation, it is good if you can use the same brand for all your components. If you use the same brand, you will have a better output because that brand, everything will match. They will communicate well with each other. Now, if you use or mix other brands, you should always check their specifications. Check the charge controller. Can it charge a lithium battery if you want to use a lithium battery? And also check the settings for lithium battery, for flooded battery, and for sealed battery. So, what I'm saying is that using the same brand, the communication will be smooth. The interaction will be smooth. The efficiency will be very good. Why? Because they are from the same brands. But if you're using different brands, make sure they match, their specifications match with each other. For example, you're using a Trina solar panel of 300 watts and you're mixing it with a Jinko solar panel of also 300 watts. Now look at their voltage and their current. Is there any match? Are they having the same specifications, the same parameters? Those are the things you need to look at. Mr. Okechukwu Victor, difference between monocrystalline, polycrystalline, and amorphous, solar panels. These are different types of solar panels, mono, poly, and amorphous. Amorphous is not widely used because of its low efficiency. The ones that are widely used are the polycrystalline and the monocrystalline. The polycrystalline cell efficiency tends to be lesser than that of monocrystalline solar cells. Like this one is a monocrystalline. This panel behind me is a monocrystalline solar panel. The cell efficiency of a monocrystalline solar panel is higher than that of the polycrystalline solar panel, but not that, the difference is not that too much if the polycrystalline solar panel is of good quality. So their cell efficiencies always range from between 15% to about 22-23%, depending on the quality of the solar panel. Now, okay, Mr. Alex, you're saying it's a lead acid battery. For a lead acid battery, it is highly recommended you make use of 50% DOD, because if you use high, well, the DOD is the amount of energy you'll be able to take from that battery bank. So if you have 50% DOD, it means you can only take 50% of the capacity of that battery. If it is 100 amps, it means you can only make use of 100 amps hour per day. So you should take care or look into the aspect of the DOD for lead acid batteries. For sealed batteries, recommended DOD is 50%. For flooded batteries is between 60 to 70%, and for lithium battery is 80% to 100%. Some manufacturers of lithium batteries will tell you you can drain their batteries up to 100% DOD, and their number of cycles will still be high. So always look at the parameters or the specifications of that battery, the maximum and the minimum charging current of that battery, the charging voltage, the discharge rate of that battery. So if you're adding, unless maybe some cases where you'll be using the solar system during the day. So during the day, the solar panels will be powering your loads and also charging your battery. Then in the night, you still have enough charge. Now, if you don't have enough panels and you're using your solar panels your solar system during the day, the effect is that most of the energy that is generated by the solar panel will be consumed by your load. So at times nothing will remain that will be stored in your battery bank. So in the night, when there is no sun and you need energy to power your loads, you will not have enough energy from the battery bank. Why? Because you have consumed what the panels were generating during the day. So for you to take care of this, you undersize your solar panels. You oversize your solar panels so that during the day, as the solar panels are charging the batteries, they are also powering your loads. So that in the night, the battery is fully charged and you have enjoyed your system during the day. But that comes with additional cost because you're going to add more solar panels. And you do it in such a way that, it will not affect, the charging of the battery. The current should not be too much for your battery bank, because if it is too much, it's going to affect the battery. The battery will become hot. And, when the temperature of a battery is increasing, it can affect the age and the quality of that battery. Please, as you're typing your questions, let me know where you're watching from. Mr. K TMO, thanks. I'm grateful. Mr. Oria Sutie Ehi, good day, sir. How much will it cost to install 3-bedroom flats? When installing a solar power system, Mr. Ehi, we don't look at the size of the building. We don't look at the size of the building. You're having 10-bedroom. What size of solar system will power a 10-bedroom, a 10-bedroom apartment? What solar system will power a 2-bedroom apartment? No, we are not looking at that. Rather, we are looking at, the loads you are using. What kind of loads are you using? You can DM me or send me a message. At the end of this broadcast, I will attend to you. But the major thing, what I'm saying is that we don't look at the size of the building when sizing a solar power system. Rather, we look at the appliances. An energy efficient home that is 10 bedrooms bedroom or 5 bedroom may be using less appliances, energy efficient appliances, and by so doing their energy consumption will be low as compared to somebody who is living in a 2 bedroom appliance but is using heavy appliances, that their power consumption is very high. And when the power consumption of a load is high, the energy consumption of that load will also be high. Some their appliances are not energy efficient. So those are the things we look at. What is the total daily energy consumption of those loads of your appliances, the power rating of your appliances, and how many hours are you going to use them? So we take them into details. We look at all the appliances individually, their power consumption and their runtime hours. So you can send me a private message. I will attend to you. It says with air conditioned on the rooms. Yes, that is what I'm saying. Air conditions, whether 1 horsepower, 2 horsepower, whether they are inverter ACs or our normal ACs that they have starting or surge power. We need to take all those things into consideration. Please just send me a private message. If you look at my channel, you'll see my WhatsApp link. Just click it and send me a message. I will respond. And maybe after the live, I'll also send you a message. So that you give me all the details, all the appliances, how many hours you're going to use them. Then I'll prepare a load analysis table. That is where I'll use, to size all the components for you. So you don't do solar installation by guesswork. Oh, this is a 32 inches TV. The power rating is 55 watts. Yes, it may be LG, but if you go to Samsung, the power rating may be different, but it is still a 32 inches television. You may have a 30-liter fridge. Yes, the power consumption may be different from another brand. So that is why you need to take pains to look at the power consumption of those loads that will guide you. Please don't forget, check my channel profile. You see my WhatsApp link at the description. You can send me a message there. Then Mr. Jerry Electrical, sir, I have 560 watts 40.12 volts solar panel which I install in series parallel, and I have 86 volts, and the total number of the panel are 12. And if I connect it to a 100-amp DC breaker, but the breaker got burned. If you connect it to a 100-amp DC breaker and it got burned, look at the current. Most times, either high voltage or high current. One thing the mistake we make when choosing breakers is that we don't take into consideration these two important parameters, current and voltage. Look at the current or the maximum current of that breaker, and also the maximum voltage that breaker can handle. All of them must match, else the breaker will fail, it will burn. If the voltage is higher than its rated voltage, it will burn. If the current is higher, it will also burn. So if you have 560 watts solar panels and their voltage is 40 volts, you install them in series parallel. How many did you install in series? And after installing in series, what is the total output voltage that you are having? Does that voltage match with the voltage of the breaker, or it is higher than the voltage of that breaker? If you undersize a breaker, it will be tripping off anyhow. If you oversize that breaker, it will not trip off when it is supposed to trip off. So there are things you need to look at before sizing or choosing a breaker. Either the breaker will burn or it will not function when you expect it to function. Mr. History Makers, you're watching from Uganda. I have my 490 watts. If you're still Mr. Jerry Electrical, you can also check my WhatsApp link. Please send me a message if you are still, you can do a video. There are some that will call me. I'll ask them to do a video of the setup. Then I will direct them and instruct them on what to do. So you can contact me on WhatsApp, check my channel link, and Mr. Maurice Thompson, thanks, $4.99. Thanks very much. I'm grateful. I'm very, very grateful, and I appreciate. Thanks very much, Mr. Maurice Thompson. I'm seeing what you have done, $4.99. I'm very, very grateful. Thanks. I appreciate. I'm grateful. God bless you. You have 490 watt panel. That's Mr. History Makers. How many AH are really suitable for it? Thank you. As a solar installer, there is something I want you to avoid. When you say you have solar panels, you have a 490 watt solar panel. How many AH are you going to use for that solar panel? I don't want you to size a solar panel with this kind of idea. Rather, size a solar panel with a basic, start with the basics. That's the foundation. The foundation in sizing a solar panel is knowing your total daily energy consumption. It is very, very important. That is the basic foundation whenever you want to size a solar power system. What is my total daily energy consumption? And you can only know it when you know the total power rating of your loads. So after knowing your total daily energy consumption, that is what will guide you in knowing the amps hour. That is the battery bank size, the capacity of the battery bank you need. So from the size of the battery bank you need, that is what will also guide you from your total daily energy consumption. It will guide you in choosing the number of solar panels that you need. Now, if you have 490 watt solar panel, if I may ask, what is the total daily energy consumption of your loads? Because this 490 watt solar panel, mind you, this panel will not be able to generate complete, that is 100% of its rated capacity from sunrise to sunset. It cannot. That is why we use a performance ratio of 65%. That ideally, this solar panel can only generate 65% of its rated capacity. Although we are having modern day panels that the efficiency is high, so you can take it up to 70, 75, or 80%, or using a performance ratio of 70-75%. You have shading, you have other factors that will make this 490 watt solar panel not to generate up to 100% of its rated capacity. So what is your total daily energy consumption? From your total daily energy consumption, Mr. History Makers, you will be able to size your battery bank and also size your panels, and you will not have issues. But if you say you go to the market and buy a 300 watt panel and you're connecting it to a battery bank, it may end up not charging that battery bank very well, or it will overcharge that battery. You'll be having issues because it is higher than the battery bank capacity. So there are things you need to factor in. So if you have 490 watts, let's assume, let me do, if you have 490 watts, and let's assume that the solar panel will generate 490 watts, which is practically impossible. But if you have 490 watts and you have, let's say, your peak sun hours in your geographic location is 5, multiply 490 by 5, it will give you the total daily energy consumption of this solar panel. So this is what will guide you of the size of battery bank you're going to use. So for this 490 watts, you can use 100 amps hour battery, 150 amps hour battery, and 200 amps hour battery. It will not be able to fully charge that battery bank. Although depending on your DOD, the depth of discharge that you're using per day. So if you want to know the energy production of your solar panel, you can use your multimeter or a clamp meter to measure the voltage and the short circuit current, or the current that is coming out from the solar panel and the voltage. Multiply the voltage by the current, you have the power. You can do it at different intervals. You can choose, you do it at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 noon, 1 to 3. You can do it for like 5 days. Then you take the average. It will give you the ideal energy production of that solar panel. So you can know that for one day or every day, this solar panel will be able to generate 1 kilowatt hour of energy, or 1,000 watts hour of energy, or 1.5 kilowatts hour, or 1,500 watts hour. So with this, a 100 amps hour battery of 12 volts, if you multiply 12 by 100 amps hour, is about 1,200 watts hour. So the solar panel will be able to generate that energy. But if it is a sealed battery, remember that you will not be able to discharge it up to 100%. So if you make use of 600, if you make use of 50% DOD, means you'll only be making use of 600 watts hour from that 100 amps hour battery. And in less than 2 hours, this 490 watts, if there's enough sun, will be able to generate that energy. So you can make use of 150 amps hour or 200 amps hour battery bank. From 150 amps hour to 200, then we have flooded batteries that are rated 230, 220. You know, I think we have some that are up to 250 watt amps hour. So you can start. But if you're having a 490 watts panel, the voltage of that panel will be high. So if you use a PWM charge controller, it may not give you, you know, a good result, unless maybe you're using a 24 volt system, or for a 24 volt system, it may give you a better result. But if it is a 12 volt system, 490 watt panel with a high voltage, there will be a lot of losses because the PWM will not be able to convert it to energy. So let me handle another question. Can I charge my batteries with generator or power from the grid? Yes, you can use your generator or power from the grid to charge your battery bank. Like the hybrid inverter we have, you can use different input sources from the solar panel, from the grid, from the generator, from the battery bank. So if you have a generator or grid power, and maybe during cloudy days, there's no enough sun that you are using your solar panels to generate enough energy, you can use your grid power to charge. In fact, there are some persons that are using just inverter batteries, just only inverter and batteries. They are not using solar panels. What is charging the batteries is either the grid power or the generator power. So they don't have solar panels. Whenever there's grid power or whenever the generator is on, they will use it to charge the batteries. So when the grid fails or the generator power fails, you know, the battery bank will supply the power. So you can use your battery, you know, you can use your generator or power from the grid to charge your batteries. But if you're using your generator, you have to properly size the generator. It should be at least 2 to 3 times higher than the size of your inverter. So if you're having a 2 kilowatt inverter, the size of generator you want to use to charge the battery bank or connect to that should be at least 5 to 6 kilowatt generator. Because when the generator is running, the generator is doing 2 things. It is powering your loads and also charging the battery bank. So if the power rating of that generator is not times 2 or 3 of that inverter, you see that once you switch on the inverter, you hear heavy sound from the generator. It's like you're stressing the generator, and that can kill your generator. Then if you're using the grid to also charge your battery bank, your energy units, your energy consumption from the grid will also be high because you're using a lot of power to charge the bank. But you do this when, you know, during cloudy days, when the intensity of sun is not there. So I believe Mr. Kechuku Victor, you are asking if an inverter has a 3-phase. Yes, we have 3-phase inverters. We have single-phase inverters. We have 3-phase inverters. Mr. Alex, thanks, sir. I really appreciate your response. I'm also grateful. Thank you very much. General Electrical, and I want to connect it hybrid inverter direct. Please rephrase your question, Mr. General Electrical, that you want to connect hybrid inverter. What do you want to connect to the hybrid inverter? Mr. Okechuku Victor, why do we add distilled water into the battery? That is only for flooded batteries. You add distilled water flooded batteries because of the electrolytes level. So you need the you need to top the the flooded batteries with distilled water. You don't use any kind of water. It should be distilled water. You just top it. You look at the gauge. You see if it is down. You just top the battery with that distilled water to give it a better performance. Mr. Morris, thanks again for the super thanks. I'm grateful. Ocean ships. So how to connect two solar charge controller in one battery? You can connect two solar charge controllers to one battery. You do it. You have separate. Let's assume you have 12 solar panels. You can divide them into two. You connect the other 6 to your charge controller. You connect the other 6 to the second charge controller. Then their output, that is battery to charge controller, you connect all of them to the terminals, positive to positive, negative to negative. That's parallel connection, positive to positive, negative to negative. So you can connect 1, 2, 3 solar charge controllers to a battery bank, but that is always for big systems where one charge controller will not be able to handle, up to 5,000, 6,000 watts of PV power. Then Mr. Temitope Ajayi, hello, sir. You promised to drop WhatsApp number in your last live class. I am the guy that complained about paying to your. Okay, yeah, I saw it. So let me drop my number. I have. Let me see if I can get. Okay, you can chat. Let me read out the number for you. +234 +234 810 +234 810 878 1450. I have the business WhatsApp number, but I can't call it over. But this is my major line. +234 810 878 1450. Please send me a message and I will send the PDF copy to you. You did it. I saw this thing, but I was trying to see how I can get you. Thanks very much. You received the PDF today. Once you contact me, I'll send it to you. Thanks. I'm sorry for the delay. Mr. Unique Emmanuel, please, sir, is it proper to use a lead acid car battery for solar installation? No. I don't use car battery for solar installation, and it is not recommended for you to use car battery for solar installation. Although it will work, but car batteries are not meant for solar installation because they are not deep cycle batteries. You cannot deeply discharge a car battery and deeply recharge it. You kill the cells. The cells will die very fast. Car batteries are made to produce enough power, instantaneous power to start a car. Once it starts, that's why the alternator needs to be working so that it will always be on charge. But deep cycle batteries are meant for deeply discharging and deeply recharging. Although the car battery may be cheaper than the deep cycle battery, but their performance is far, far different. So I don't use a car battery for solar installation, and it is not recommended. Car batteries are meant for starting a car. Deep cycle batteries are different. That is why they are more heavier and, they last longer than the car batteries. So if you have a client, some of them will tell you, come and use car battery, come on. If you do it and that system starts failing, you will not sleep. It will look as if you don't know your work. So give them your quotation. If they can't buy it, you walk out quiet. It's better for you to have peace than somebody will be disturbing you here and there. Mr. History Makers from Uganda, we appreciate the service, sir. Now, if the sealed battery voltage has gone below 12 volt to 4.5, is it possible to regain life? What are the remedies to recover? Once a 12 volt battery, you're reading 4.5 volt, that's a sign that the battery is already gone. It's already a weak battery. Although this may happen at times when you leave the battery, you have not charged it for a long time. The battery voltage may go down, but the recovery process or remedy or whatever is 50-50. It may work, it may not work. So once a 12-volt battery starts reading 4 point or even below 8, I mean a 10 volts or whatever, is a sign that that battery is gone, is not good. So unless you have left that battery on charge for a long time, you may try by connecting 12-volt panel to that battery. Then you charge it when there's enough sunshine. It can pick up back to that 11 point, but it's 50-50. It may work, it may not work, unless another person have an idea, because we are here to share ideas. What I know, you may not know, and what you know or what you have experienced, because most times this thing is all about experience. What you have experienced in the field, practically, what you have observed and how you manage to solve that problem. You can share it, and all of us will learn. All of us were in a learning process. Nobody is higher or greater than another. What you know, I may not know it, and what I know, you may not know it. That is the main reason why we share our ideas, so that what you know, I will learn from you. What I don't know, you can learn from me. So unless anybody here have an idea or he has faced that same challenge and he was able to solve it, you can share it with us. If it is showing 11.78 volt, is it still good? Yes, a 12-volt battery that you deeply, it's showing 11.78 volt. It means you have deeply discharged that battery, because ideally a 12-volt battery, you're not supposed to discharge it below 12.2, 12.3, 12. Yes, should be 12 volts. Once it begins, every day you're discharging it more than, below 12 volts, you're having 11 point. Every day you are repeating it. If it is a lead acid battery, a seed battery, it will die fast. You are killing it very fast, because the cells of that batteries will become weak. So deeply discharging a battery is not good. Another one is that if the battery is also getting bad, that is another way for you to know a bad battery. When you are connecting your solar system, mostly in series or in parallel, when you put on the load, you can use your multimeter, test the individual batteries. The one, others may be reading 12.9 volt, but that one will be reading 11 point or 10 point. Either that battery is not well charged, you can take it out and charge it separately and bring it back to the battery bank. Or you use a very good charge controller with equalization charge to equalize the voltage of that battery bank. You use a powerful charge controller. If you use a powerful charge controller, it will be equalizing the charge, the battery voltage. All of them will be at equal state of charge. So one is draining faster than others, that one battery will die fast. And if the voltage of that battery is low, it will be dragging down the voltage of other batteries, because the inverter will always be sensing this 11.78 volts. So it will be calculating it as the overall voltage, and your inverter will be shutting down. Maybe you connect 4 in series, but it is only this one that is bad. But the inverter will always be sensing this bad voltage, and it will always be shutting down. But the other 3 batteries are fully charged. So you can take out that single battery, you use a different charger to charge it fully charged, to make sure its voltage is equal with others. Then if you connect it back and you connect load and it drops again, means the battery is weak. So you need to change that battery. Now, if your batteries are not up to 6 months, you can add a new battery to an old battery. But if they are more than 6 months, it's not good for you to mix old batteries with new batteries, because the old batteries, they have discharged some of their capacity, so they are no longer strong, and they will be killing the new batteries. Yes, solar batteries are different from car batteries. Solar batteries are called deep circle batteries. They are called deep circle batteries. So they are different from car batteries. That's Mr. Unique Emmanuel. How many watt of charge controller am I to use to charge a 100 amps hour acid battery? For you to know the size of charge controller, if it is a PWM, you need to know the total power of your solar panels. Divide the total power of your solar panels by the total maximum power voltage. You get the size of PWM charge controller you use for that system. If it is an MPPT charge controller, divide the total power of your solar panels by your battery bank charging voltage. For a 12 volts battery bank is 14.4 volts. For 24 volt battery bank is 28.8 volts. So you can divide it by that and you have the number of the size of solar charge controller to use. Unique Emmanuel, is it proper to use a 60-watt charge controller to charge a 100 amps hour lead acid battery? A 100 hour lead 60-watt charge controller to charge a 100 amps hour lead acid battery. When you say 60 amps, even if you connect a 60 amp charge controller to a battery bank, what determines the charging current is the solar panels you have connected. So if the solar panels are high, a 100 amps hour battery is small. So you cannot use up to 60 amps to charge a 100 amps hour battery. You destroy the battery. It will become hot. It can swell. It can explode. The battery will, will go fast. So it is 100 amps, at least use 10 amps, between 10, normally 20% of the battery bank capacity. So if you take 20% of 100 amps hour, you know the maximum charging current you are to use. If the current is too high, it is not too good for that battery bank. So if you have a 60 amps charge controller, but the solar panels you are connecting, they are just bringing out 20 amps or 30 amps. It is not up to 60 amps. So it depends on the solar panels you are connecting. Most times people buy oversized charge controller because they have it at the back of their mind that they will upgrade someday. So before you connect your charge controller to your battery and solar panels to the charge controller, always look at the capacity of your battery bank so that you will not be overcharging that battery bank. So I'll take the last question here and I'll close the live broadcast. I time it at 1 hour. So we are ready. We have already used 1 hour, 2 minutes. So how do I test the strength of a battery? You can test the strength of your battery, by using a load, applying a load to that battery. So if you apply a load to that battery and it's draining very fast, you know that that battery is no longer strong. For example, you have a 200 amps hour battery and you apply a load of 5 amps to that battery, and within that battery is not strong, it's not good again. So you can apply a load or you do an individual battery test like I mentioned earlier. When you connect a load to that battery, you use your digital multimeter and test the individual voltage of those batteries and see the one that is draining very fast. You know that that battery is no longer strong and you need to change it. So continue to interact. So this is the end of the broadcast today of the live stream. Thanks everybody wherever you're watching from Africa, Europe, America, Australia. I'm very grateful. I appreciate when we share knowledge like this, share our knowledge together. We grow better together when we share our ideas together. So thanks for the communication. Thanks for your audience. And those of you who have liked the video, I'm grateful. Thanks for liking it and thanks for also sharing. Thanks for your comments and your questions. They are very wonderful and they are very beautiful. The world is going green. So let us key into this green energy that the world is moving towards, so that our environment will be clean and it will save our Earth planet from greenhouse gases, climate change, global warming that is affecting us in different ways. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. Remain blessed. If you want to learn more, check my channel. You will see my long form videos. There are a lot of videos there, and they will help you. They will guide you in sizing the solar power system. So I hope to see you again when I come live. Thanks and remain blessed. Bye-bye.